And welcome to Gate to Wire. I'm Bruce Casella along with Dani Gibson, and our special guest is Parks Hall of Famer Steve Appel. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, guys. I'm very happy to be here this morning.
That's great. Steve, I got a question about what you're doing now. I mean, you're a former dentist, retired, dentist to the stars. You had our wide receiver, Terrell Owens, was one of your people.
Was one of my patients.
Yeah, one of your patients, as you call it. What are you doing now these days?
Well, I've been retired since 2020, and people call me and ask me what I do every day, and I tell them as little as possible. But I also, of course, I keep in touch with what's going on over at Parks, and I have a couple of horses still. There was a time many years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I owned a couple of dozen horses. Now I'm down to two. But it keeps me in the game. I love the game. Nothing's more fun for me. When we're doing well, they're coming down the stretch. I'm still jumping up and down and screaming. And I guess when that stops is probably when I'll stop. But right now, I'm still loving it, and hope to keep doing it for a while.
Well, I love your enthusiasm when your horses win. And of course, you're known as wire-to-wire racing because you're an orthodontist. But what was one of your favorite racehorses that you had?
Well, it would certainly have to be Whistle Pig. Whistle Pig was a horse. Andy Carter was my trainer at the time. He's retired, but Whistle Pig was a horse that Andy claimed out of a maiden $10,000 race. He'd run 6 times, and he ran second the day we took him. And Andy and we used to have little discussions. I'm a numbers guy and speed figure guy, and I would want some input into claiming horses. And with Whistle Pig, about 2 days after Andy claimed him, Andy called me and said, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I claimed a horse the other day." And I was like, "You claimed a horse? What are you talking about?" And it wasn't really the way we did things. But I said, "You know what, Andy? I looked at the form. I didn't see much. But I said, listen, if you like them, I'll stay in with them. And to show you how much I know, from there, over the next 4 seasons, he won 17 races, 9 stakes.
Oh.
He was just short of $1 million in earnings. And I came this close to telling Andy I didn't want him.
That's one of the best stories. And what a cool name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I asked his breeder, Betsy Houghton, how she came up with the name, and she couldn't remember, actually. Everybody now talks about it because it's a bourbon. And then other people have told me a Whistle Pig is sort of a way to describe a groundhog. So I'm not sure exactly. Betsy couldn't remember exactly where it came from, but he was all racehorse. Now, he passed away last year at the age of 20. And Betsy, after he was done, Betsy kept him at the farm, and she'd turn him out with all the brood mares. And she'd tell me stories how in breeding season, when they would take a mare out and bring her to another farm to be bred, he would wait by the gate, till she came back, and then he'd start running around again. I mean, he had a great personality. Andy Carter went to visit him one time, and this story must have been about 6 years or 8 years after he stopped running. And Andy showed up there and called his name and whistled to him, and he came running right over to Andy.
What a cool horse.
Yeah, he was great, and I don't have to tell you when you got to. And the great thing about him, when you watch his races, he's a horse who'd be last by 15 lengths, and he was a sprinter. And he always found a way to win that horse. He was just something else. I wish I had a few more like him.
They don't
come along like him too often.
Steve, you're a big handicapper. I know that once you get out of owning horses, you'll always be at the racetrack or be at home handicapping horses. Breeders' Cup's coming up this weekend, and we lost Sovereignty. Sovereignty spiked a fever and is not going to run this year. Tell us what you think about the Breeders' Cup, especially the Classic.
Well, first of all, I don't have to tell you, it is the most exciting 2 days of racing. Anybody who's even slightly, I mean, it's one of those days like the Kentucky Derby that gets a casual sports fan interested in horse racing. A few things that, when you talk about the Classic, I think Baeza, who won the Pennsylvania Derby, is a horse who's going to run well in the Classic. I know he's a very come from behind type, but he's a horse he's a young horse. I think he's going to be moving forward at the right time. Again, I don't know if journalism is in there still. They say stop. He is okay. At the end of the day, I think Baeza might be the one young horse, when I say young horse, 3-year-old, who's ready to step forward and make an impact. Another thing I would say about the races at Del Mar, which I've seen in the past, is that, you have to, I think, particularly in dirt races, I think having a home field advantage, horses who've run well at Del Mar in the past, I think it's tough for East Coast horses to ship over there and run their race. And that's why it's important, I think, to watch the earlier races and, see how the Pletcher horses and the Bill Mott horses are doing early on, because I think making that ship is a tough one. And the other thing is the configuration of the racetrack. It's a short stretch. And so horses that are coming from the back and they're going to be very wide, I think are going to be in a tough spot, at the finish line. But we'll see how that all plays out.
We have a special day at Parks. Tell us about that one, Dani.
Oh, we're having a breakfast on the apron and just trying to get fans. So we're going to take a little, we're going on a bus. We're going on the backstretch to a couple of barns so fans can get up close with the racehorses during training. And then we're going back to the apron to watch training and have breakfast. And hopefully people stick around. We're going to have live racing on Breeders' Cup Saturday. We have 8 races. So, and then they could stay and watch the big races on the big screen. So it'll be a fun day and trying to get new fans involved in our sport.
It's a great thing. There's no downside to doing something like that. It's it's really terrific, and I hope you have a nice turnout for it too.
So I got to ask you, what kind of rooter you are home? Are you a leaner? Because I see you're enthusiastic when your horses are coming home. How do you get them home? Do you lean? Do you yell?
I go to the whip occasionally. Sometimes if I'm with friends, I use the whip on them. I get a little carried away. Lately, I've been going less to the whip and more snapping my fingers, and I'm always screaming a little bit. So that's probably my kids for years have made fun of me when I'm watching a race.
Oh yeah,
that I have a horse in. It's I get a lot more animated than I usually am. But it's the greatest game, and it's a game where listen, I can't become a minority owner of the Eagles, but I can become a shareholder in a racehorse for relatively small investment, and just to be involved in something like that, it's so exciting, and that's this one of the reasons I think this My Racehorse group has taken off is people feel invested in it. There's a number of people who want to be involved and just think that there's some huge financial hurdle that My Racehorse has sort of eliminated. So it's
great. And speaking of partnerships, you've had a lot of great partnerships Is it more fun to win races with friends, or do you find it more satisfactory when you own the horse by yourself? Because I looked up your name. You had a lot of partnerships through the years.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever owned a horse by myself, Danny. I mean, I've always wanted to get involved, get friends involved.
Yeah,
I know how great a sport it is. And I've got guys who've had very little knowledge of horse racing, come in with me or come to the track with me, and maybe we win or get close, and they see how excited I am, and say to me, hey, next time you get a horse, why don't you let me know? And they'll give me a couple of dollars, and it just spreads the fun around. It's great.
I agree.
Who's your
It's
favorite
great.
jockey and why, Steve?
Who's my favorite jockey? Well, all time, I would say my favorite, has to be Tony Black. Tony Black is a guy who I think probably could have ridden anywhere in the country. He was that good. He was great on a front runner. He always had something left. It seemed like jockeys could never go past him. He always had something left. He's a natural lightweight. Uh, he's a very nice guy when you get to talk to him. But in terms of his craft, I think he was the best around here. Kendrick Carmouche is another one. He's a guy who's gone to New York and really made a name for himself. And he's a real favorite with the fans up there. And,
Yeah.
he's a guy who started here and was able to launch his career elsewhere. And he's the guy also that, when he was riding here, he won a number of riding titles in a row, and you could see that he was a guy who could take it to the next level for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Steve, you're a big sports fan. You got to talk about how great the Flyers are doing, how great the Sixers are doing now, undefeated as we speak, 4-0, and the Eagles 6-2 at the break. I mean, I know you love that.
Oh yeah, it's and I'm a transplanted New Yorker, so it took me a while to tell the Mets I'm gone, and actually the motivation for that was my friend Sal DeBunda, who had some season tickets to Phillies and Eagles games. And he said to me, hey, you want to buy a few games from me? And I did, because I love watching sports. It's just like racing. It's
Yeah.
unscripted drama. You never know what you're going to see or who's going to win. And then I started going to games, and I started going to a few more games the following season. And I said, you know what? I'm invested in these guys. Let's go. Let's leave the New York guys behind and get over to the Philly side. So that's been a number of years for me. I love going to Phillies games. All the Phillies teams are off to great starts now, and let's hope it continues.
Are there any racetracks on your bucket list to visit?
I've been obviously, as many years as I've been into horse racing, I've been to a lot of racetracks. A lot of them are closed now.
Yeah.
I used to love going to Atlantic City Racetrack. They had the evening racing. I'd drive
It was
down
awesome.
after work when I had a horse running, and the weather was nice. It was just it was a great place to be. I've been to all the major racetracks. Even made a trip to Oaklawn Park one time, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But
Do you have a favorite that you've been
do
to?
I have a favorite? I did again. It's gone now. I used to love Hialeah.
Everybody says that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hialeah was beautiful. Santa Anita's beautiful. Del Mar is another. It's situated in such a beautiful area. And who can say no to the racing at parks?
Exactly.
Okay.
We love it. All right, Steve.
I do. Listen,
Steve,
I appreciate you guys asking me to
thank
come
you.
on. It was really nice of you. And I hope you have a fun betting day on Saturday.
You too. You too. And
You too,
everybody has to
Steve.
know I always call you Dr. Apple. Of course, you're Dr. Appel, but that's my affectionate name for you. But
Well,
always a
you know,
pleasure.
that's from Ralph Riviezo's story.
Yes. Good stuff.
Steve, I got a tooth that hurts right here. Can you still work it or
I
what?
can't. I wouldn't be doing you a favor.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for joining Gate
All
to
right,
Wire.
thank you guys. Appreciate it.